sports talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Gonna let a little sunlight come on up in here. You know what I mean? Get a little sun. Ain't been no sun around for a minute, right? Hey, in boxing this weekend, it's going down. Not any huge fights, but it's going down, right? You're gonna have David Evanson versus Josh Kelly in the European welterweight title match, right? Pretty high profile, right? Evanson only lost to Peterson and the Mean Machine in the welterweight division, so it's a European welterweight title. You know, they got a few losses between them, but it's still kind of a high profile fight. Now, the biggest one probably on paper will have to be Miguel Breazeale, who's 37-1 with 33 KOs, versus Oscar Valdez, right, for the WBC Junior Lightweight Championship, right? That's probably the biggest fight. Now, Oscar Valdez is coming up from feather, right? It's 28-0 with 22 KOs, right? You got one loss between these guys, and they got damn near 70 fights, right? That's going to be probably the biggest fight of the weekend. I'm going to tune into that one. And now you got the return of Mr. Whatever. There's three boxers that I don't really care too much about what they up to because they seem to be people that just need to have attention, right? You put them in a room, they're going to just do something silly just so they can be in the middle of attention. And that would be Tyson Fury, been saying it for years, Amir Khan, and this guy, Adrian Broner. Adrian Broner is coming back, and he's going to have a fight against a guy, Giovanni Santiago. I don't care yet. Adrian Broner got to fight about 2 times before I even think about starting to care about what he's up to. Let's just see what he's going to do, you know, just to see. I don't know. It seems to have weight issues, blows up between fights, and, you know, does a whole lot of other stuff. Whatever with Adrian Broner, but he's going to be back, and some people care, right? I'm just not one of them. But one thing Adrian Broner said in the last week or so that I agree with, well, not agree with, but almost, is his fight against Manny Pacquiao. He says he won the fight. I can remember how I was feeling after that fight. My whole thing after the Adrian Broner versus Pacquiao fight was, see, that's the thing about that. I would have liked to have seen that fight right now during the pandemic with no crowd. That's what I was saying way back then. Because it's just when people are for one person by far, it doesn't matter if the other person hits you or not, right? The crowd is going to react. You know, the fans of Canelo, Anthony Joshua, Pacquiao, those are very, very fanatical fans, and it doesn't matter what that person does, right? They don't have to land. They can just throw punches. They can even evade punches, and all of a sudden that's celebrated. What Broner was doing wasn't celebrated at all. And I was thinking, well, that fight is a lot closer than what people think. And that seems to be what Adrian Broner went back and watched it himself with no the tone off, right? You just turn it off and take the commentary off and mute it, and then you watch the fight, you know. But with Adrian Broner, you know, well, you know, he's got a couple of strikes against him because he don't really act a fool, and then, you know, the other thing, right? So with that being said, and you fight Pacquiao, people are not paying attention to what you're doing. They don't even care. It's just they don't really care. So whatever he was doing, no one was really paying attention. And I was saying after that fight, I can remember, might put a video up in the information just to, you know, remind us all. I was thinking the same thing. But let's just see what Adrian Broner does. You know, whatever. I'm not even watching the fight. I'm not even turning in Adrian Broner yet because I don't think he's going to beat anybody at 147 of note. And at 140, I'm not sure he's going to ever be able to make that weight. Right? So I don't really know what's going to happen. Let's just see if he's going to get disciplined. He's got to be disciplined for a period of time for me to start caring. Now, the biggest fight to me, the one that I'm hyped about, and this is a test of what it means to be heavyweight, is Otto Wallin versus Dominic Breazeale. Right? There's only 3 losses between these guys. 2 big heavyweight guys. Otto Wallin, everybody knows him from the close fight he had with Tyson Fury. Right? When Tyson Fury was basically saying, you know, taking a couple of warm-ups to get ready for Deontay Wilder's second fight. Otto Wallin had his eye all open and, you know, close to stopping Tyson Fury towards the end. That's his claim to fame. He beat Travis Kaufman in his last fight. So, you know, Otto Wallin is feeling himself. It's a big fight for him. And Dominic Breazeale, we haven't seen him since he's been knocked out by Deontay Wilder. That doesn't mean everybody's going to do Dominic Breazeale like that. Dominic Breazeale is resilient, even though he's been stopped twice. you're gonna have to do something with Breazeale. He's changed trainers. He's went from Virgil Hunter to your boy Abel Sanchez. He feels good about that. Let's see what happens. This is a big fight to me. I think it's a big fight. And Otto Wallin was saying he wants to make a KO statement. He wants to break Dominic Breazeale down and then stop him, right? And this is a fight for both fighters who need to prove something. You know, both fighters want to prove something. Otto Wallin wants to prove he gets a rematch with Tyson Fury, and Dominic Breazeale just wants to prove that he's back, right? Otto Wallin says he wants, Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Charles Martin. That's why he's fighting on Showtime to get those fights. So he's ready to get down, right? Otto Wallin also says it's a great time to be a heavyweight. It's just, he says, we got the top three with Wilder, Fury, and Joshua. But he says so many coming up, the ones he wants to fight, and the ones in Europe. It's just a lot of heavyweights all around. We don't have to mention it, but if they fight each other, it is like that. It's a lot of heavyweights. It's about 15 good heavyweights. I can name off my top of my head about 15 of them where I think, wow, these are, I'm going to watch their fights when they're fighting. You haven't been able to say that in a long time, but it's about a good 15 of them. So, let's see what happens with that fight. He also said something about Anthony Joshua. He would like to fight him too, but he says Anthony Joshua's lost confidence. He thinks Fury's going to beat him. He says since Joshua's been stopped by Ruiz, he's lost confidence, which I think so too. I think Joshua has lost confidence, but Joshua's awesome enough to say, okay, well, I'm kind of chinny. I have to admit it now since I was stopped by Ruiz. I'm, hurt by everybody, right? But I'm awesome enough to, change up my style and win these damn fights some kind of way. So, that's a tribute to Anthony Joshua. I don't roll with Joshua, but, you have to be acknowledged when people are awesome. I didn't roll with Michael Jordan, right? So, seeing that, it doesn't really matter who you roll with. You got to acknowledge greatness when you see it. And Anthony Joshua has been able to, after the Ruiz, say, okay, I'm going to come in here, this guy here, I'm not going to stand in the pocket with him. I'm just going to run, basically, if that's what you're going to call it, or ring generalship, depending on where you're at. But he handled Ruiz and anybody else that's coming his way. So he's doing that. He's probably lost confidence because he is chinny, but he's still able to handle his business. so somebody's going to have to beat him first with him fighting in this style, right? So that's also something. So let's just see. With all the fights that's happening, I think Otto Wallin versus Dominic Breazeale is the most intriguing. Of course, because it's heavyweight, but it's heavyweights that have only lost to the best, right? The loss to Fury is not something you have to really worry about, and the loss to Anthony Joshua isn't either, or Deontay Wilder. Those guys have 3 losses between them, right? Or, matter of fact, only 2 losses between all of them. So that's pretty awesome, right? Let's see what happens going forward. Let's enjoy the weekend of boxing. Doma Sports Talk Worldwide. And I'm about to hear y'all.